Hi, welcome. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I know I did. So today I'm just going to talk probably a little bit about meditation, do a little bit of a recap of the book Power versus Force, which is something we talked about last week. If you missed any of the videos, or let me rephrase that. If you missed anything, if you missed one of the days, or if you missed I record these and there are videos of them that I post on YouTube. So if you caught, say, Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, whatever, you wanted to watch what we did Monday, you can go back and watch Mondays. Fridays, however, will not be posted until later today, which, anyway, still working all that out. If you have any suggestions, please love to hear them, both here and on YouTube, just, in the comments, wherever they are. But yeah, anyway, so just as a recap, as far as if you're not sure, don't know, you're new to tuning in, whatever, however that goes. Last week we talked about a book called Power versus Force, written by David R. Hawkins. This over here is his map of consciousness, or levels of consciousness. You can kind of just see for yourself. You see it corresponding with numbers, certain levels, associated emotional state, view of life. Now, Power versus Force, what it's saying is that power, which is the strongest energy you can align yourself with, and force is weak energy that most people align themselves with. Now, it's not impossible for you to move out of the force and into the power, which, anytime that power and force fight, power always wins. One example, they use it in the book a couple of times, is Gandhi versus the British Empire. Gandhi wins, or did win, because he used power. Nonviolence stuck to these up here, which is interesting. It really is. It's a great book. I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's just very interesting. They also talk about applied kinesiology and how there's an innate intelligence, not only of the body and the biofield and everything, just this whole organism, if you will, I guess. But there's also a collective consciousness, or like a supercomputer. I'm not sure that I'm explaining that quite right, but basically there's I guess, like I said, supercomputer, whatever, out wherever, somewhere, kind of like the cloud, and we can connect to that and download and get information, share information. It's one of the things that drew me into this, and even that I really like about it, is it talks about knowing without knowing how you know. Just knowing things. And I know myself, I've experienced that. I can't stress it enough. It's a great book. I would recommend it to everyone. Another great thing about this book, and again, there's a lot of other science that goes into it, but it talks about having a way to ask any question and get a yes or no answer. One of the easy ones is so-and-so dating so-and-so kind of thing, or whatever, a simple question. Am I wearing headphones? That kind of thing. But then there's the more complex questions, as far as like politicians, are they going to keep their oath, or are they going to, things like that. Like, is this a wise investment? Again, one of the big things they say is how you word it. There are certain people in the population that have adverse effects, or vice versa. They have positive when they have negatives, and negatives when they have positives. Also, they said something as simple as your cologne or perfume, or sound, music or something like that could also make you have adverse, or just different effects. False negatives, false positives, that kind of thing. So anyway, it's really interesting. I'll be honest, I probably got a little over halfway through the book. I've thought about continuing on this week, but I think we'll move on and maybe come back to it at a later date and time. I'm not sure. It is something that I will always talk about and refer to. I don't know how long I'll keep this map of consciousness up here, but it is down below. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. It's really amazing, I guess. Again, I would recommend you all look into it. Also, I don't think it was last week, but a while back, I also shared with you a daily meditation that I get. Now, this is through, I can't even think, I gotta look it up. I don't know why. My mind drew a blank. Just one of those things, you're like, oh. I'll laugh at myself. The B.E.S.T Advantage. So, go to Facebook, look up the B.E.S.T Advantage. You can also go to Text for Joy. That's text number 4 joy. They do a daily meditation. I love it. I think it's awesome. This is actually my mentor. It's the B.E.S.T Advantage. He is a elite B.E.S.T practitioner, where I am just certified. I would like to get to elite one day. Well, baby steps, I guess, or, maybe not baby, but just stepping one day at a time kind of thing. So anyway, my mentor, he does this really awesome daily meditation. You can get it text straight to your phone, or you can just go to Facebook and find it. Go to Text for Joy or the B.E.S.T Advantage. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me loud and clear, and the mic's not messing up too bad. I know last week we had a little bit of an issue, which that was my fault. I'm still learning. I was going to try and get a lapel mic, which I'm still looking into and going to try and get, but anyway. Text for Joy. So here is the daily meditation that I received today. You can go check these out every day on Facebook. I get them on Facebook and a text. If you're interested in getting them a text, reach out and ask them about it. They've got a really great program, which hopefully I'll get him on here and we can ask him about it. You can tell him. So anyway, it says, "Good morning, David." And, good morning, you. When people feel loved and important, they give love and loyalty in return. It may not always be apparent, but in science, we learn that every action has an opposite or equal reaction. This means that if you give it, you will receive it. So give love and joy and hope and help and hope, etc. And that is what you will get. For your meditation today and tomorrow, focus on the word content, the color pink, and an image of a tree full of blossoms. Love, Chris. Best Advantage. But again, yeah, it's through Text for Joy or Best Advantage, which that's awesome. The Bible says, you reap what you sow. There's a lot of different texts or, wisdom teachings that basically say what you put out, you're going to get. Even over here in the Power versus Force, they talk about that too. This is why I do this, is because I'm trying to study it and learn it. I hope that you want to study it and learn it with me and that you're excited about this. I think it's awesome. Okay, so even here it talks about science. Science even talks about every action has an equal or opposite reaction, or was it maybe not opposite, but the equal or greater reaction. Which, man, that's kind of I feel like I'm going in circles. But with the Power versus Force, that's what they're talking about. Over here, up here in the powerful attractor fields, if you will, you're putting out, say karma, if you will, even, you're putting out these positive energies, and you're gonna get them back. There's a story with Dr. Wayne Dyer where he talks about this too. He talks about what you put out, you get back, and he was saying that he was in a market or something like that, and he was waiting in line at the butcher counter, and he was going to ask about some smoked salmon, and got in a conversation with the gentleman in line, and the gentleman walked away and didn't think much of it, and the gentleman came back and handed him the smoked salmon and said, "Oh, this is what you're looking for. It was actually over here on the other side of the store, and I figured I'd just grab it to you and bring it to you because, there's a line, and I wasn't worried about it. I knew I'd get my, I'd come back and I'd have to wait in line." And Wayne says, "Wow, this is awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate it." And, takes it from the guy, and he leaves the line, which allows that guy to go, Wayne was, and move forward in line in a sense. He says, that's the kind of stuff that I would have done. If I would have found out that this guy needed that, and instead of trying to explain it to him or whatever, I probably would have went and grabbed it and brought it to him. And so the type of behavior that I exhibit towards other people is the same behavior that I see people exhibit towards me. Now, does that mean that people are not going to be rude to me or close the door or whatever? No, but the chances of that is, I would say, less likely. I feel for myself, I have experienced this also. I have had it to where people call them miracles, I guess, just things that are awesome and amazing. The only explanation I have for it is that I don't. I'm lucky, I guess. I mean, I strive to be a good person and bring laughter or say joy or happiness to the world. If I hear news, I want to be excited for that person. I want to share their good news. To me, the world is hard enough. I don't need to be any harder. Like, it's, people are mean and bitter and rude, and life is hard enough. Why make it any harder? Why do I need to beat anybody up or be mean? Like, no, that's not okay for me. That's me. Now, it doesn't mean that I have never been rude or I have never gone down here in these lower attractor fields. No, that's not true either. Had my fair share of running with drugs and alcohol, all that kind of good stuff. I guess not good stuff, but you know what I mean. Like, I've had my fair share down here, and I've had some experience, I would say, up there. Maybe more than some, but I know where I want to live my life, and that's up here. That's in these attractor fields. I would love to be like, my finger goes behind it, not in front of it. But anyway, you know what I mean. Whoa, yeah, over here. I'd like to be in the blues. That'd be cool. Greens are great too. Wherever. Anyway, so chant for change. We'll go into our mantras. Right speech, right action was Friday's card. well, you guys see that anyway. So that was Friday's card. Also, we've talked about saging on this channel. We've talked about using sound or bells, even clapping to clear the energy of the room. You have any, please comment. Let me know if there's any others that you can think of. I will keep looking and researching into this. Another thing we talked about with applied kinesiology is tapping a little bit. We might get into that. Maybe I'll see if I can dig out my notes on tapping and we can go through that tomorrow. So yes, I hope you all had a great weekend. I did. My kids went to their mom's and I had a nice quiet weekend with the dog and cat. They're usually pretty quiet. Not so much the dog. He wants to get out and play, which I don't blame him. It's fun. Good dog. Helps me get away from the computer. Having an amazing day here. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Remember, if something bad happens, you can restart your day. You could say, you know what? This isn't what I want to choose for myself. You know, it's an attitude. I remember something that really changed my life is they said life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And that got me thinking. I don't remember how old I was. I was probably 16 or 17 when I first heard or read that. And that really stuck with me. I don't know why or how. I would just say that I already knew that. I just didn't know how to put that into words. Oh, okay. And we got the card. Oh, you know what? We've done this. I'm going to show it to you, but we're not going to do this card. We'll move on to another one. Well, yeah, we'll move on to another one. So this is Supreme Light. And we've had this one before, so we'll shuffle a 1, see 2, 3 times a charm. All right. Yeah, it's funny actually. So I just showed you that card, the Supreme Light, and the card underneath it was this card I'm about to show you now. So it's kind of funny. I wonder if I, in my shuffling, mixed up and I should have grabbed this. Anyway, everything happens. So this is the card right here. Oh, let me get my hands out of the way so you can kind of read that. And this says, I am compassionate and acceptance for all. Which, man, like these, you call it coincidence, call it fate, I don't know. But that's exactly what I was just talking about, you know. I'm compassionate. I'm going to walk out of my way and I'm going to go grab that salmon for that guy and bring it back to him. That, to me, that's compassionate. That's, you know, it's not... It's helpful. It's, you know, seeing a need and feeling it in a sense. Like, and then down here, and acceptance for all. I don't care, you know, I don't want to get in it too much because I'm not political, or not yet, I guess. I don't know. But, you know, just the gay, colored, whatever, you know, orientation, politic affiliation you're with, acceptance for all. Like, now that doesn't mean that if you're going to go out and do violence, I'm accepting that. No. What that means is that, you know, if you're transgender, I accept that. I don't care. Cool. Whatever. Let's, you know, grab a beer and watch the game. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it myself. You know, I guess I try, or I work on myself to be accepting of all. Now, does that mean there are times people cut me off and I go, freaking a-hole in traffic, and I get mad at them? No, I still do that. It's something I'm still working on. Like I said, I have been down in here, and I sometimes tend to go there, which I try not to. But anyway, no, this card is, I think, spot on. See if I can pronounce it correctly. Kahun ha hum. Kahun ha hum. Kahun ha hum. Kahun ha hum. Kahun ha. Kahun ha hum. Kahun ha hum. That, so it's got the word broken up, and so I'd say it kind of broken and then try to piece it together. Yeah, so anyway, some of you might be able to tell this is, you know, public speaking, or, you know, reading in front of people is something that I challenge with. I'm a little nervous even here on the channel. I still get nervous, but I believe that this information is worth sharing. So anyway, Karunha is pure compassion born of the knowledge of our absolute connection to everyone. Our heart is open to connect from a place of love and acceptance. We open ourselves and learn to be vulnerable. We learn to be comfortable in our own skin. We have the courage to show up and be seen. Karunhum elects compassion for all from this place of shared consciousness in every person. We have all experienced the fear of judgment, of not being good enough. Karunhum helps us stand firm in our worthiness, letting go of judgments and expectations. In doing so, we release fear, and we can now be in a place of enjoying what is and let it unfold with grace and ease. We see ourselves and others through God's eyes. We are all like Him. We take ourselves and others out of the box and allow the freedom to just be, owning our innate expression of life. Man. That's cool. I like that. So I'm going to go back. We did this a little bit more. So right here where it says letting go of judgment, letting go of judgments and expectations, doing so. Yeah, letting go of judgment and expectations is right here. Is. It just is. I have no expectations. I have no judgment on it. You know, it's. I saw the other day, or the other night, whatever, I was flipping through Netflix, and there was a thing of Pablo Escobar, and it was like devil or angel. And that's just it. You know, to some he was probably the devil, and to some he probably was an angel. He probably, you know, I saw a quote even the other day that, you know, not everybody gets the same version of me. Some people say I'm an a-hole. Some people say that I'm a nice guy. Well, it depends on the circumstances that you run into me, when and where, kind of thing. Now, I personally would like to hope that everybody says, you know, hell, he's a great guy. I'd love to be around him. You know, I don't know. I guess sometimes, you know, you got to be an a-hole or whatever. You got to, I don't know. Anyway, back to my subject, though. This right here, enlightenment. It is. There's no judgment. There's no expectations, assumptions, you know, none of that. It just is. You know, it's like I said, is he a devil or an angel? I don't know. I'll leave it for you to decide. Oh. So yeah, it's fascinating. All of this, you know, I do believe that we're all connected. I do believe God lives within all of us, I guess, to a lack of a better explanation. There was a video actually I even watched before while I was getting ready for this stream, and it was a video of a little boy, and he packs, you know, some Twinkies and a couple apple juices in a backpack, and he walks out the door, and then as he's walking out of his door, his mom says, "Where are you going?" He says, "Oh, I'm going to find God." And his mom's like, "All right, well, you know, dinner's at 6, be back." And he goes off, and it shows him, and he goes to, looks like park or something, meets up with this homeless lady, and he opens his Twinkie, and he gives her one, and starts eating it. Kind of doesn't really show any dialogue, but you can tell they're supposedly, dialoguing back and forth, and it was cool. So anyway, they're laughing, kind of having a good time, and then the little boy says thank you, and he leaves, and the lady, thank you, and the little boy goes home, and the mom says, "Well, did you find God?" He says, "Yeah, she's a beautiful old lady with a great smile," or something along those lines. And then it cuts to the homeless old lady that, you know, walks over and sits next to this other homeless lady, and she's smiling and kind of laughing, and other homeless lady holding a sign kind of looks at her grumpy. "What are you smiling about?" She says, "I just had a Twinkie with God." I think that's really the truth there. Again, back to Best Advantage, my mentor Chris Shipley. This is a fun game I like to play, but I got the game from him. I don't know if he invented it or if he got it from someone else. We can ask him. But he says, I want you to picture that everyone around you is an angel wearing a mask, and their whole job is to help to teach you. Sometimes some people are to teach you bad things. Sometimes people teach you good things. And when I say bad things, I don't mean, well, I guess it could be like, you know, swearing or, you know, flipping the bird, whatever, that kind of bad stuff, or you're here for an experience, and that's what you have. Now, if you label that experience bad or good, that's nothing's good or bad, but thinking it makes it so. I won't get into that. This is what I'm going for. This is where I see things, and I want to help bring it forward for more people to see, more people to experience. I think this is awesome. And sorry, I'm totally got off the subject. So they say everybody around you is basically an angel in a mask. Now, I believe everybody around you to some form of extent is an angel. I'm not going to get too into it because people go, oh, what about the person on death row, murderers, or this, that? I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just saying, as far as for me, when I run into the grocery store, whether the lady in front of me or the gentleman in front of me or the kid around me is being a nuisance or a wonderful person to be around, it is. It's perfect. It is. I try to love them and accept them, not pass judgment on them, not, oh, look at that guy, he doesn't have the coolest shoes, or, I don't do any of that. I try not to. I can't say that I've never judged somebody. I've never looked over and been like, I don't want to be around that guy, and, cross the street kind of thing. It is what it is, where judgment keeps us safe to some extent, but there's another judgment that says, I'm better than you. You're low life, and no, that's not okay. That's not the right kind of judgment. That's, where I'm judging, is this, I don't know. Anyway, move on. I got a little action figure guy that my son gave me. He keeps me company here. Anyway, Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. We'll chant that for a minute or two. Now, again, I personally breathe in with my nose, out with my mouth. Sometimes you breathe in with your nose and out with your nose. I also do this, hold, contact points. You could try to do that again. Too much. So I think just the two fingers is good. I've not got too much into why I do this. Maybe I will at a later date and time. But to me, this is what I like over this. Like I said, I feel the energy like my pulse, even, like actual, you feel your pulse. And sometimes it probably is that pulse, but other times I feel more of an energetical pulse, if you will. So however you want, I'm sure even like this. Another time, sometimes I even will do this, put my hands in this just in my lap. Whatever's comfortable for you. And then again, you can say this quiet. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Or you can put some intensity in your voice and Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. I am compassion acceptance for all. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Karun Ha Hum. Said a couple times in my head. It's interesting. I feel that like in my heart, like in my chest. Like, that was interesting. I don't know. Maybe it's just heartburn, but I don't think it is. I don't know. This stuff's awesome. This stuff's fascinating. Again, if I could encourage you in any way, shape, or form, go read Power versus Force. Even maybe the book is success for you. Real quick, I'm going to read just one or two books that I would highly recommend. Maybe a little bit that I learned from them, and then I believe that'll be all the time we have today. So again, Power versus Force, which talks about this over here, level of consciousness, how they found the level of consciousness through applied kinesiology. And then they kind of circle it over and over so it gets easier, more understandable. Another book that I would highly recommend is The Tao Te Ching, which I have this little book. Love it, love it, love it. Great book. I would say that book kind of speaks to me. Like I really enjoy that book. Another one is Success for You, and that's written by the same person that did the Power versus Force, David R. Hawkins. This one I really loved. Great book. 12 Rules for Life: An Antidote to Chaos by Jordan B. Peterson. He explains a couple of the rules. No, I wouldn't. I was gonna see if maybe I could pull up just one or two of the rules, kind of recap. Another one is The Alchemist. I'm sure a lot of people heard about that. It's interesting, actually. I was in college. I started to develop a hunger, I would say, for reading, or for books, knowledge, information. And I was watching an interview with Will Smith, and he said, a book that changed my life was The Alchemist. I'm probably botching up his name, but Paulo Kalu. I don't know how to say that. I'm horrible with, and I do daily meditations. Go figure. But that's why I do it. Get practice, get better. But anyway, The Alchemist. Most everybody, I think, would have heard of that book. Awesome book. Let's see. Another great one that I really liked was the little off subject, Milk and Honey. It's a poetry book. Wow. Talk about painting a picture. I've talked several times or mentioned a couple times about reading about a guy performing surgery with a pocket knife and in some type of trance or something. That's a book called Out of My Mind that I got that from, by Alan Arkin, if I'm saying that right. I would love to have him on this channel even and ask him about it. I would love to get a copy of that footage if he still has that. Or another one, this is a little bit more for the male audience, but it's called Iron John by Robert Bly. I found that book very intuitive, very maybe not intuitive, very informal, informational. It was a great book. It's very interesting. They take a Brothers Grimm tale and they tell a little bit of the story, and then they talk about how that a story applies to us in our life. Great book. I liked it. Will It Fly? This was an awesome book by Pat Flynn. I would highly recommend you read it. Will It Fly? It makes so much sense, once he gives this explanation. He says, I was with my son, 3 years old, I think, at the time, maybe 4, I don't remember. And I decided to, I grabbed a piece of paper and I folded a paper airplane and I was like, hey, check this out, buddy. And I threw the paper airplane and it flew across the room. Well, his son got so excited, he goes and grabs a piece of paper, folds it a bunch of times, throws it, and it falls right at his feet. And that's the premise of the book is, will it fly? A lot of people see somebody else starting this business over here and go, I want to do that. But they don't know all the folds that this other person did to make their business fly. So, Will It Fly by Pat Flynn. He also has a really great podcast that he does. Yeah, love it. It's great. Really, another good book is What Doesn't Kill Us by Scott Cannery, if I'm saying that right. It's about Wim Hof, the Iceman. Well, it gets into that, but it just talks about, it does talk a lot about him and how he's been able to push his body through certain limits, and he even talks about how he feels he can control his immune system, and if I'm remembering right, his autonomic nervous system, which is huge. Yeah, so again, I would highly recommend that book. This is kind of a fun book I got. It's called Eat That Frog, and it's just about procrastination. If you had to wake up and eat a frog every day, it's best to wake up and eat that frog first thing in the morning, because then you don't have to do it anymore. It's done and over with. So that was an interesting book. It was fun. A little off subject, more for fantasy story, The Count of Monte Cristo. I love the movie, so I picked up the book. Good book. Enjoyed that. The Shack. I'm sure quite a few people have heard of that. That's a very popular book. That was a great book. I enjoyed that one. Another one I have mentioned on this channel is Extreme Ownership. It was written by 2 Navy SEALs. Love it. Jocko Willink, I would love to even have him on the show, or Leif Babin, if I'm saying that right. Awesome guys. A Guide to the Good Life. William B. Irvin. It is a book about Stoic philosophy and Stoic thinking. One of the things with this book that really profoundly hit me, he talks about optimism, pessimistic, and he said optimistic, glass half full, pessimistic, the glass half empty. And he says, but a true Stoic will be happy, let alone fascinated, that he even has a glass. We're not getting into the glass is refillable, blah, blah, blah. You have a glass. Now, whether it's full or empty, that's on your perception. But you have a glass. That is something to be thankful and grateful for. That's huge. And what's even crazier about it is I've always felt that way. So when I read that in that book, I was like, is he talking to me? Great book. I've got a bunch more books. Again, like I said, I try to read a book a week. I have slowed down on some of reading new books because I've been going back and reading some of the old books because you read it every time you get new information out of it. I mentioned that quote, a man that crosses a river or stands in the river is never the same man, and it's never the same river because the river is always flowing and we're always changing. We're always flowing to, I guess, like the river. But anyway, this is all the time I have for us today. Please come back tomorrow. We will do another mantra, daily meditation in a sense. Try and read the text for Joy. Sometimes I know he gets busy and it doesn't come out till after lunch. But sometimes it's breakfast time, and that's awesome. I love to start my day with it. Anyway, thank you again. Please come back tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go back. You can go over to YouTube and you can watch any old videos. Even this video will be on YouTube tomorrow. So anyway, thank you so much. I wish you all a wonderful day. And remember, I am compassion and acceptance for all. Thank you so much.